In the previous video, we were learning about the chat functionality of this GitHub Copilot. This chat window is extremely useful. You can use this chat window either in Visual Studio Code, or the same functionality is also available in Visual Studio. Now let's assume a situation that you are writing some code in one of your file, and GitHub Copilot can give you some suggestions based on what you are trying to write. This will give you the code completion, and if you think that there is some mistake, or you want to make some change, or you want to improve something, then you can do all these things inline only by using this GitHub Copilot. So in this video, we will talk about how can we use all these inline editing and the code completion by the GitHub Copilot. If I open my GitHub account, at this place you can notice that this is the URL. I will add this URL in the description of this video also. You can navigate to this repository and you can clone this code in your system for your future reference. So here you will see that everything will be there. All the links of the videos will be there. All the code will also be there. And make sure whenever you are accessing this page, just click on this star button. Now let's open our Visual Studio Code and write some code by using the GitHub Copilot. In the previous video, we were learning about this chat window, but in this video, let's close it and we will talk about the inline editing functionalities. So here I have created one very basic console application, and this is the program.cs. And what this application is doing, basically, I just want to calculate the areas for few of the shapes, and I have created all of them at this place. The functionality is not implemented. We will do that in this video. So let's open the same application in Visual Studio 2 so that we can learn about this Visual Studio also. So this is my Visual Studio. Let me just increase the font a little bit. So here you can notice same application is there. Welcome to this calculator, and enter the choice. Based on that, we will just calculate the area. So if I will run this application as of now, see what will happen. Here you can notice that we got the options, choose any one of them. So for example, here I'm writing this 2 and hit the enter button. You can notice that we are getting the message area calculation to be implemented. So let's implement all these things by using the GitHub Copilot. Whenever you are writing the code in your file, then there are some chances that you may need some help from the GitHub Copilot. At that time, if you want to use the chat window, then you will have to type so many things. Hey GitHub Copilot, in this file, at this line, I want to make this change. But GitHub Copilot will give you more functionality so that you can get all the changes inline in your editor. How to do that? So for example, at this place, we are calculating the area of a circle. So what you have to do, just right click over here and you will get this Ask Copilot. Similarly, if you are using this VS Code, then also at this place, I'm just right clicking over here, and you will notice we are having this GitHub Copilot editor inline chat. And by clicking on this button, you will notice that we are getting this window where we can write our message. Here we can choose our models. All the models that are available to you, those will be at this place. You can click on this @ and basically you can tag few things. We will learn about the tagging more in the upcoming videos. And here you can click on this one and you can just talk to this GitHub Copilot and it will make the change accordingly. Now let's use the same functionality in the Visual Studio. So right click over here, click on this Ask Copilot, and remember there is this shortcut also. So let's click on this one, and here again you can choose all your models that are available in your Copilot, and here I'm writing calculate the area of circle. Hit the enter button. So based on your input, the GitHub Copilot will analyze something and it will give you the output at this place. So here you can notice, similar to what we were having in the chat window, we are having this experience at this place. So what is the plan that GitHub Copilot has shared with us? So it is saying, first it will prompt user for the radius input, and then it will calculate the area. This is the formula, and this is basically will just perform other operations. All right. So now we have to apply the changes. How do you apply that? On this code, you will notice that we are having this apply button. There is this copy button also. You can copy it and you can paste it manually, or you can click on this apply button. Once you will do that, you will notice that the GitHub Copilot will make the change automatically. To accept the changes, you will have to press the tab button at this place. There we go. Now what do we have? If the choice is 1, you can notice, then you will get a message, enter the radius of the circle. Nice. Then at this place, we will get the user input. So here we will try to parse the input, and you can notice if everything is fine, then this is the place where we will just calculate the area of the circle, and at this line we will just display it. Now if we have given some wrong input, then we will get this message over here. Okay, now let's save everything and run this application and test this first behavior. Okay, so we have implemented only the first one, and here I'm gonna type 1. So first I will input some wrong information. So here I'm writing my name. Okay, here you can notice we are getting this validation invalid input. And let's type 1. Let's enter the radius of the circle, so which could be 10. And here you can notice that this is the area of this circle. Do you want to calculate another area? We have to implement more functionalities. This is the first behavior. You can use the inline editing. Now let's assume that you don't know what this method is doing. So I can right click over here and ask Copilot, explain the code in the program.cs or explain the code in this method. Whatever you want to learn, you can write those things over here. Explain the code in this block. Let's click on this enter button and see what is the output that we are getting. So program structure. First is the main loop pattern. So this GitHub Copilot is telling us that there is this main while loop, and then there is this menu system. We are having this display menu that is displaying basically these things. We are input validations. This is the input validation, and then we are checking. So basically all the details what this method is doing, it is available over here. If you want to refactor this thing, then you can also do that. So at this place, just right click over here and ask Copilot refactor this circle area code. Hit the enter button. You will have to simply give the basic inputs, how you talk to some other user, and you can talk like that, and this GitHub Copilot will basically work accordingly. So let's see what it is suggesting to us now. Now it is saying that we can create a new method. So calculate circle area, and we can call that method at this place, which is nice. Let's click on this apply button and let's see what will happen now. So this code that we have written over here, now this is discard. Let's click on this tab button to accept the changes, and this is the second code. So here we are having this calculate circle area. This is calling this method at this place, which is nice. So it means this GitHub Copilot can refactor our code really well. Now in the same way, let's start writing for the second one. And in the second one, we are calculating the area of a rectangle. So similar to what we have done for the circle, you can use this GitHub Copilot by right clicking, ask GitHub Copilot, and it will give you some suggestions. By default, if you are using the Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code, then sometimes you may notice that we are not getting any kind of suggestion from the GitHub Copilot. And there could be few reasons for that. One reason is that this feature is disabled in your GitHub Copilot. So how can you enable that? For that, you have to click on this GitHub Copilot chat window and click on this setting. So here you have to check this checkbox, enable Copilot completion and enable next edit suggestion. You can also click on this options button, and here you will notice that there are some options that are available in this GitHub Copilot. Based on that, you can suggest something. Make sure that this code completion is not disabled in your GitHub Copilot. The similar functionality is also available in this VS Code. So if you will click on this small arrow and click on this configure code completions, at this place you can basically enable all the settings, and you can make sure that this code completion is enabled for you. To calculate the area of our second figure, let's use the VS Code. So here we are in this VS Code, and this is the method. Now let's assume that at this place I want to get some more help from the GitHub Copilot. So here I'm writing in the command form calculate. Here you can notice that you are getting all the suggestions automatically by the GitHub Copilot. It says calculate rectangle area, triangle area, and calculate square area methods will be implemented over here. So basically this is what, let's say, we want to write. Let's hit the enter button. This is for the triangle, this is for this. Now here you can notice that this GitHub Copilot is suggesting us all the code completions. So this first one is for the rectangle. Tab again, then you will notice that we are getting the suggestions for the triangle area. So basically whatever you are writing, whatever you are doing in this application, this GitHub Copilot will analyze your work, and based on that you will get more inputs over here. Alright, so we will use only one of them because we have to learn more functionalities over here. We are using this calculate rectangle area, and we have to use it somewhere else. Where you have to use it? At this place. Let's use that. Or for example, if you don't know how to use this method over here, how to call it, then you can simply again ask GitHub Copilot, and for that you can use either the chat window, or you can right click over here and ask this GitHub Copilot, how can I use this method in this while loop? This GitHub Copilot will give you suggestion, and it will write your code over there. Alright, so let's just use it and put it here like this. See, this is super easy to use. So for example, if I'm just clicking over here, you will notice that by default, this is suggesting us that you can use this calculate triangle area at this place, which is nice. So we can use that, or we can just ignore those changes. So the first one was about using the chat window inline in your editor. The second one was about the code completions. The third one is about by using some chat. So for example, here I want to write some complex method to basically regex. This is the most complex scenario whenever you are working on some application. If you have to do some logic and you don't know how to do that, then you can use the GitHub Copilot. So these basic things I think you can try, but let's try some more complex scenarios. So over here, just for the testing purpose, I'm adding one more file, and the name of the file is going to be employee repository. So inside this same console application, I'm going to add this employee repository.cs. So at this place, you can notice that again we are getting some suggestion that I can use this open chat by using this control I or select a language, fill with the template. So basically we can get started by using these shortcuts. Okay, so but I don't want to use anything. I'm writing only pub, and you can notice that I'm having all these things. So why we are getting these things? Because the name of my file is employee repository. And what are the methods? What is the work that we generally do in our employee repository? Basically, we get the data, we save the data, those operations we generally perform. So you can notice that we are having all these things at this place. This is our read only because we are not using any database. So we are having this one in memory list, and this is the constructor. Here we are just initializing it, and add employee, get employee. All the methods are implemented based on that. Now let's understand that basically you are trying to call one third-party API from your application and you don't know how to write that code. So here you can basically write one more method. So for example, see, it is getting even more methods, search employees, but we don't want to use that. So here I'm writing this public void call third-party API using HTTP client, and we have to implement this method. So this is the example that we are getting. Here you can notice that this is how we can implement it. This method is a placeholder for calling third-party API using HTTP client. So at this place, you can just initialize your client like this. This is how you can call it. Ensure success status code. Based on that, you can just read the data from that API. You can console or display the data. For now, we just print the message to the console. So we are having this kind of comment thing at this place. But in reality, I hope you got the idea that if you want to implement something that you don't know how to do that, so just ask this GitHub Copilot either in the chat window, or you can also use this GitHub Copilot inline in your file, and everything will work. This GitHub Copilot is super easy to use, and this will definitely help you in so many features. If you are learning something new from this course and you find this course is really useful for you, please like this video and share your feedback in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.